Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, and with liberty and justice for all. Thanks, everybody. Okay, purpose of this meeting tonight is to review ordinance review. Cannabis, fee schedule, nuisance properties. Everybody had it all in our packets. So, want to start as the cannabis. Yeah. It's on the top. But you got comments about it? Where was it?
Curious if it'll take the pressure off us if we have the county, but
The only thing the county really does is they'll collect the fee and do,
you know,
I mean, that's the only thing, because we already do it for tobacco and the alcohol. So that's basically the only, I mean, we can,
we
But-
can't make this any tougher than what the state has it already.
well, right, so the example ordinance that Kennedy attached was for us doing all of it. If we wanted, that's why I attached the ones from the townships, because those are the ones that give authority to Blue Earth County. Because we'd still do the zoning and the approval, whatever Blue Earth County would handle, the registration, accepting the fees, checking and meet the standards. And then they would still conduct the compliance inspections.
Yeah,
That's the contract with the sheriff's department.
I think
Yep,
they're doing that. We ran it.
yep.
And
Even
that's,
if we,
that's the scoop, right? Not the gummies or is it gummies?
it's the gummies, it's the
Anything with
THC, anything with THC.
Okay,
I think right now it's just the hemp, isn't it?
yeah, that's what I was wondering.
Hemp
If it
products.
include any of all that?
So the bars that have that, do they gotta go through, or is
That's-
that covered under the liquor law? Or the liquor?
The stuff that the liquor store has in the red iron is not the THC stuff, that's the hemp stuff. This is the stuff that you'd actually have to go to, there's one out by Menards, I don't know what it's called.
Like the prescription kind of stuff?
Well, that and you can buy the THC infused gummies, things like that at those, I don't know what that store's called. I've seen it out there.
Well, it's legalized.
It's by my dentist,
It's what
Yeah.
it's what my son does too,
yeah.
is right here. Giggly, I got a good hat on today
Oh, is that
for
what
it.
that is?
Yeah,
I didn't even know what that was.
yeah, that's his product. It's a THC infused drink.
Yes, so that's,
And it's nothing,
yeah,
and then they also have by, Anytime Fitness, Planet Fitness, where you got the gummies, you got the sleep stuff, you got.
yeah. THC, the Delta
Yeah.
stuff or whatever, yep,
Delta eight.
yep.
It's all regulated. I mean, it's, you can't do anything over and above, so.
Right.
And you can't not allow somebody, right?
No.
If long, well, I mean, there's requirements that they have to meet, but yeah, I mean, if a business came into town, if they meet the requirements.
Yeah.
You know,
Just so you'd have control on whether or not you wanted them to be here in
And-
town producing it. But as far
Right.
as selling it.
This is just the retail.
Produce, what they wouldn't make it here, right?
Well, not saying that they possibly couldn't. I mean, there's a,
This is not, no, because they still don't have that in Minnesota where they can, do they have it in Minnesota where you can actually make it now? Do they?
Drummer's got a spot. He's got the old Brown Printing Building in Wasika, and that's what he does.
Oh, yeah?
They refine it and bottle it. Yes.
Really?
All right then.
Yes.
So do we have to make this cover like for the production of it then? Do we have to
Well,
buy it or?
This is more for the retail portion of it,
Yeah,
not the production.
but if they came in and say they bought a little or had a little area to do it and they wanted to product their own and put it on the shelf, it'd be two things in one building. So do we have to address that over?
I would just say we should probably just focus on the retail
Retail?
portion
That'd
right
be
now.
easiest for us.
Because
It goes,
my understanding is, so like say in my home, if I wanted to open a retail business, I would not be able to because it's residential. It's not
Yeah, it's gotta be so far away.
zoned business district. So one thing about Good Thunder though, that's, I mean, we have limited space. And then when you add in the 500 feet from a daycare,
school, church.
doesn't it have it in here, just the combination part of it in here as well?
I didn't remember reading it.
It's on page 3. 1.5, the definitions, maybe it's just under definitions. District.
Yeah, cultivation.
Oh, yeah, I do remember reading that.
Yeah, and then if you have a retail business. Which would be somebody coming in to do a storefront on Main Street or whatever, because it would have to be.
Yeah, it addresses the cultivation business in 6.1. On like the
Deemed
second to the last
commercial.
page. License issued shall not be good for you. License issued.
So is there anywhere, let's see. 500 feet from the church or daycare school, right?
That's, yeah,
Mhm. Yep,
So just say it came in the old Happy Dan's, that wouldn't meet the church requirement or the daycare. So in reality, is there even a spot in the retail area that you could even have?
I'm not sure how far 500 feet is, but I was thinking about it.
Well, from that stop sign there down there should be 300 feet. One
Okay.
city block is 300 feet.
Okay, so the 500 feet rule for the daycare, if you go straight up Hauk, that would eliminate Maureen's Bank, the old bank building,
Yep.
because that would be within 500 feet
Yep.
then.
The church and the daycare
I think it's just daycare. I don't think a church,
or school and
yeah, we don't
I wanted to-
worry about a school anymore.
school, we don't have, and then a park, right?
Stanley Crystal.
500 feet of a park.
yeah.
So yes, we could say that, or it could,
Clean up at this park in the church, you're in a cover, and then you go 500 feet. That's way out to my house, so
Yeah,
you're covering,
there's not a lot of, there's
No.
no real room in this town that would actually work.
no.
With that 500 feet in there.
at this.
Nothing
point,
where
all
it
we
would
need
be
is one
zoned
person to Come in
commercial.
and want to, and then we have to backpedal because we don't have an ordinance.
right, no, well, we need to do the ordinance because the new buildings going up over there,
Mm-hmm,
we could have,
yeah,
because that's
See, there-
business zoned and
that could potentially, absolutely,
That
That
would,
would be,
that would make the setbacks.
yep.
but yeah, we need it, but I think as far as the downtown area, yeah, pretty much. If you consider Bell Tower Park a park, which kids do hang out in, that
Well,
would
it's
be,
next to the bus stop, so.
right,
yeah.
so.
None of the downtown area would ever be able to accommodate any of this.
Mm-mm.
think you'd ever see a retail in this town anyway, in a small town.
Chances are not, because we're not a destination you have to purposely go to the thunder.
Yeah, it's
It's
not
not
a
a. you don't
major
necessarily
highway.
get it.
It's not a, yeah.
I think it would be great because the Thunder Restaurant brings in,
It's 100.
I mean,
They must have, don't have it that.
It's really the only one that does bring anything that people come here for.
Yeah, yeah.
they bring plenty though.
That they do.
I mean. If somebody's smart, they would be open the same time as the Thunder is.
Would you ever allow anybody to have a variance? Say there were 300, say there were 400 feet, somebody comes in and asks for a variance. Or is it what this is printed, is this statute, state statute has to be followed?
Kennedy's letter, that second short paragraph, it's just one sentence. The language regarding the minimum buffer zone may be reduced, but by statute cannot be extended. So yeah, we
Oh,
could do a
okay.
variance.
Yeah, there you go, yeah. Anybody think this will be a growing business?
Not in good thunder.
Not in good-
Minnesota it will be.
Yeah,
It
you'll see
really
it.
is Starting in Minnesota.
You'll see it in Mankato, you'll see it in Minneapolis, you know, the bigger, you're not gonna see it in the small towns. And then, you know, the old adage that it's a, you know, a bad thing is if they do their research, they'll find out that THC is a very good natural anti-inflammatory product if it's used in the right,
Mhm.
you know,
Right.
for the right purposes. But
But why can't you drive on it?
It's
Because you can
also
get it for
toxic.
driving under the influence.
yeah, just like alcohol, yeah.
Yep.
You can drive on them, but I mean, it's just like alcohol, you know, only so much.
Red Iron. Red Iron could get a license for it with a variance.
Go upstairs.
Upstairs.
Yeah, no, I was even trying to think, even if it would say go somehow for some reason the other side of the locker, but then you're getting closer toward the Catholic Church.
You'd stay the same distance there, but
Um,
I'd have to.
But yeah, I don't see anything where it says it can't be close to a church, just do a daycare
And park.
and parks. But yeah, the park is up right next to the church, right? Yeah, that's true.
and this is the same consent that all the other townships and whatever are following, correct? I mean. that's
Well, the
fair.
townships are given the authority or delegating. Delegated authority to Blue Earth County to
County.
do all the registration and. All that kind of stuff. Filing all the paperwork and stuff like that.
So on the whole, I think this is a pretty good policy, except for the Lake Crystal blurb in there.
Yeah, well, he did Lake Crystals, yeah. Well, that's what you're looking at is the one they did for Lake Crystal, fairly similar to it. anyway.
the ordinance one that he drew up,
Yeah,
he already drew one up for Lake Crystal.
yeah, I think so. 'Cause that's, if you look at this, Lake Crystal was mentioned and the first one he gave me had Lake Crystal on the front.
Or the
So,
Under J,
yeah, yeah,
retail registration.
so.
There's one. Stop. Between. That's less than 100 feet away from the park.
Maybe they got variance.
So, yeah, that's. I don't want that to do,
The Lake Crystal, that one's considered a smoke shop, right?
but they have THC in it.
Yeah,
Depends on the level of
Yeah.
THC.
and that's all
Yep.
regulated by
Yeah.
the
They
state.
go outside and you can smell
Oh, yeah.
So then if we had adopt these ordinances, what procedure do we have to follow to get them into our book? So
So it has to go to that public hearing
that's what I thought.
and all, yeah, it has, that's why we're,
And-
hopefully we can do like 3 of them or whatever at a time.
Yep.
And then we'll just have, I'll work with Kennedy on doing the public hearing.
And then we'll have a public hearing. People can come and voice their opinion.
Yep.
Yes or no, whatever.
Yep.
Yep, okay. Yep. And then after that, it can become an ordinance, right?
Correct.
We adopt it, make a resolution
Right.
probably.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't know how.
I think it's gotta be by resolution that we adopt that.
Seems like I was reading some about that today also too.
That's a resolution to adopt an ordinance.
Virtually, well, I guess this does cover the sale of it too, doesn't it? Not necessarily just the.
So we can't make a motion in special meetings, so we'll have to bring this forward in the regular meeting after, if we want to accept this. Or can we make a motion and,
Yeah, we can't make a motion in a workshop, but this isn't a workshop, this is a special meeting.
oh, so we can make, okay.
Yes, you can make a motion in the special meeting and then we can move forward with this or not, however.
So then we'd have to plan for that public hearing,
Right,
okay,
yep.
so. Anybody else have any more questions about this here? Good, bad? Now's the time to speak up.
Yeah.
If not, John, you wanna make a motion for what we've
Yeah,
got here ahead of us?
I'll make a motion to approve the proposed ordinance presented by Kennedy with the correction of the Lake Crystal piece. I think everything else looks fine.
And does this one just follow in suit here with the townships, or is this just an example?
That's an example from the townships giving, delegating the authority to the Blue Earth County. That's all that was.
John made a motion, someone to second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye opposed, motion carried. All righty. Fee schedules.
So that I can update the utility increases for the water, the sewer and the garbage.
Do you still have to go down on election days yet then? Are you still involved?
I go to the trainings,
Yeah,
but I don't have to be an election judge unless I'm called.
so we don't have any more election judges period right now, right? But we don't want to
That
eliminate.
doesn't mean that's right. You don't want it to eliminate it because you could get them back and then we have to redo.
Someday, I think this in-house voting should come back.
Yeah, definitely.
You hope.
Yeah, since I moved here, it's all, and that was before COVID. I don't know why we weren't doing it before COVID. Wait, no. No, I take it back. It was COVID.
I have no idea.
We
Yeah.
had a guy here from the county. In fact, it was this Stellenberger, I think.
Michael Stahlberger?
I think it was him.
Yeah.
He was here and to get back into it. Which at the time I thought was very handy because you don't have to plan on being here.
And it's
Voting
getting
day.
calibrated.
Comes in the mail, you mail it back. But as we found out, I don't think sometimes you can trust that system.
Yeah,
So it was gonna cost the city like $20,000 or $25,000 to reinitiate it. But if it comes mandated back,
Right.
we wouldn't
There'll
have
be
to do
grant
that.
money for it.
Then you
Well,
gotta
we
re-
wouldn't probably, it wouldn't cost us that. It would just automatically go back again.
it would cost us something,
Probably a
but
little,
it wouldn't cost, yeah,
yeah.
$5,000.
or what it's gonna be by then, yeah.
Or you gotta buy that machine and then recalibrate it every election and whatever they gotta do to it. I think that was like 10 grand, wasn't it?
Well, I don't, yeah, it was up there, yeah. So do we want to go through this compensations for, the fire department chief, assistant chief? But that's set already for this year, right?
Right.
Yeah, so everything that's on here is what's already set in the fee schedule. We're just moving the fee schedule from the ordinance to its own. That way we can just update the fee schedule as needed with a resolution versus changing the ordinances all the time.
Right, yeah. And so going back to the cannabis, do we want to do a fee for that registration like we do with liquor?
I would think so.
Is that,
However, yeah,
Yeah, that's
or
it.
do we collect that or does that just go to the county?
no, we collect it.
That's in,
But it's here on number 8.
yeah. It's in your fee schedule.
I don't know exactly what that dollar amount is at this time. The initial, I think it's,
Do you know offhand what like the liquor license is, Sue? That like,
I think it's 50 and 25 for tobacco is
renewals.
renewals.
Yeah.
Yearly?
Yes.
Yeah.
I believe so.
just $50 to have a liquor license per year?
You just said it's renewals, so maybe a beginning one, maybe there's more to it. Which would make sense. There'll be more work to it too.
Yeah.
If you have special insurance, to have a liquor license.
Well, you need to be insured. I don't think it's special insurance, but I'm sure there's a lot of more considerations. Than a liquor license
I
for
was gonna
insurance,
say, Any job local can, there's a vote, really.
right?
I don't know, I guess it is only. Well, the intoxicating liquor is 400 a year.
That's what I thought. One of them was higher.
It's 400 a year. And the off sale is 50.
Well, that cannabis, if you would sure want to have that at least, into the hundreds of dollars, when you $250 or, or.
Yeah, she says
I
400.
mean, if the liquor is 400, I would say you would probably want to keep it closer to that, wouldn't you?
Even or, I don't know. I'm
Yeah,
just
so,
throwing it out there.
You
I
got
think so.
scared of people.
What's the smokes?
cigarettes are. We're at 100. Yeah. Tobacco's 100 a year.
No, I was off on both of them. Yeah, we can do cannabis, same as intoxicating
I
liquor,
mean, you can set it wherever you want.
but cannabis is also intoxicating, so
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
400's good.
yeah.
Do they have to have, see, a bar has to have dram insurance, is it?
Dram.
Dram shop.
Dram insurance? How about, if they're selling that, do they have to have certain kind of, insurance to sell that cannabis also?
Oh, I'm sure they do.
But I mean, do we need to make sure that is in our ordinance and being followed, Because,
That's all part of the license application. They have to give me a copy. I have to have a copy of the insurance. And all these other documents.
but who sets what minimum of insurance they have to carry?
The state, I'm
State.
assuming the
Assuming
state.
state, yeah.
Because again, like you said, it's intoxicating. It would have the same risk if somebody went in, just puffed it down or whatever the heck you do with
There's
it.
all that
Go out and
information.
Kill somebody.
All that stuff goes to the state and the state verifies it and says, okay, yes, you can.
State's the one that got us into this mess.
Through that.
So when you're talking about a fee for that, you're talking about for a cannabis business, or are you talking about a fee just so they sell it?
They have to get licensed and that's
Yeah.
will
Read it every year.
ultimately be approved through the state.
Yeah.
through that
I
scene,
just wonder if
whatever.
in Mankato, do they charge them extra to sell that?
I would imagine.
I would assume there's a
I don't know.
cultivating license and a
Cultivating,
retail
I,
license.
yes, I understand the cultivating part would be something separate. I'd have to ask him, but
Check, text Jared and find out.
yeah,
That would be a good question. I would assume so, but no, that'd be good to check.
But I mean, that could all be added in at the time
Mhm.
of the hearing and before we put it in.
Well, right, and
The
that
book.
would be set, the fee would be set by resolution.
Yeah.
And it would be separate from, because this fee schedule, all it does is just say that the fees are going to be on its own. It's not going to be
Right.
in the ordinance and it's gonna be set by council. So there is no dollar amounts attached to this ordinance.
And this is actually, well. Oh, yeah, it's moving the ordinance to its own,
It's moving the fee schedule to its own.
right, or not the ordinance, yeah, the fee schedule.
The majority of the cities have it. I'm not sure why it's in ours.
So did I? How about reconnect fee? I know we do it. You know, if they're non-payment and we reconnect, there's a fee.
yeah.
It isn't under minute.
It's $75.
Yeah, but is it listed here? Water permit
Yeah, it's the
inspection fees.
reconnect fee in the front. Oh, yeah. You're not looking at the same thing. now.
What part is,
Rates and charges.
Yeah, basic charges here, but I don't know if we have,
There's a section where it says rates and charges for municipal in utilities.
yeah,
That's where that would be. And then if you, because it would direct you to the fee schedule and then the fee schedule will have it listed.
or may impose a late fee, return check fee, interest upon delinquent rates, but it doesn't say reconnect fee, right? Sewer connection fees, that's when you do it,
yeah,
contingency, but if you shut somebody's water off and I think we have a reconnect.
But it says not, but not limited to. These are the fees, but it's not limited to just the connection fees. I can change it. I can have.
We should probably have that in writing, shouldn't we? You know,
I can have them put it in there.
because
What-
if somebody would
what
look
is
at
the
that,
fee
oh, you
schedule?
don't have that in your ordinances and you
If you're gonna-
$25.
You wanna look at it?
I'm just saying.
Oh, this is
Water.
not gonna be in
$5.
ordinance,
75 to shut it off, 75 to
Turn
put it back on.
Yep.
Okay,
because this is.
It talked about,
Fee schedule.
question has been brought up about,
So we don't have to go through everything,
we are
because even our water rates,
Yep.
Yeah, this
yep.
is gonna be on its own.
Shut off if they like, so
not,
your dad doesn't do it, so he just pays his.
Yeah.
But we have a couple in town that they get shut off, they get that disconnect fee. When they come back in, they get a reconnect fee.
okay.
Now,
so-
that's something that was never done in the past. And when it was only, there was only one person that had it. Now we've got a couple different ones.
But now that they want this, the monthly
Monthly.
thing, it'd be probably cheaper to have it shut off.
It's still their option. I mean, if they have it shut off, they don't have to worry about anything busting in their house when they're
Mm.
gone.
That's right.
Because we did have one that they were on vacation and Race had found there was a whole lot of water usage and he had to get in there with the sheriff because something was running or broke or something.
But if they keep their
So-
valve working coming into the basement floor, they can shut it off right there and you're all done in your house too. But most people don't keep that valve operational and
So yeah, it's just up to the property owner if they wanna,
Yeah,
because we talked about having an ordinance for snowbirds. And council decided just to leave it as it is for a disconnect and a reconnect, no matter what the disconnect is for. Unless it's something the city has to do to fix something.
so, yeah, because you have to figure out then what it is, how long they're gonna be gone, what the minimum charge a month is,
Right.
and weigh it out to whether it's cheaper in the long run to
Yep.
do the $150, but you know that's what it's gonna be.
Right.
Wrote down there. The fee you were talking about was whether or not they were shut off for
because
non-payment.
non-payment.
That would have to be a.
That's in our ordinances, that they can get shut off or not. That's separate from this. That's in there. If you look at our ordinances. They are shut off for non-payment. And I think it does say that there's a fee imposed on it.
How about a fee for, we've seen it somewhere, but say a individual wants a bucket load of rock
Mhm.
and we sell them a load of rock. Would we put that under this?
It's on the fee
It's
schedule.
on the fee schedule. It's on here.
Okay, yeah,
But, because all we're doing is taking this out of the ordinance,
okay.
so that we can just change this through resolution when needed, instead of having to go through the whole ordinance, public hearing.
The farm water should be on that same list too.
Right, yep.
And,
Yeah, 'cause then you can update that just on a.
And that's what I was doing, and then
Monthly.
yeah, that's how this came out, because of the water and the monthly, because right in this, it's quarterly, but we're changing it to monthly, so we have to change our ordinances to go along with it.
It's involved to
Right.
have a fee increase of some type or.
So is any other questions on the fee schedule then? Or I mean, anything to be needed to add? Or take away? I don't.
I think,
Did you notice on K, Robert, that it explains miscellaneous fees, that they can set other fees? So that kind of covers that whole blanket.
oh, I just noticed that. That K should actually be M. Cause it goes JKLK.
Yeah. Yeah. We're just going backwards a little bit, it's fine.
Yeah, I think this is fine. I'll make a motion to approve removal of the schedule from our,
John made motion, someone second,
Second.
Jim second, all in favor, say aye.
I,
Opposed, motion carried. Okay, down to nuisance property. Might be the one that takes the longest. I just, you know, if you live by somebody and you take care of your yard and you want your place to look nice and you have a neighbor that has junk all over and they might think it's precious stuff, but the other neighbor don't want to really look at it. Or if you've got a house that's got siding falling off or no siding on it. This is our job to make sure that we can get something done, right?
Mhm.
And, you know, people aren't gonna like it, but the people that are living by it don't like it either. So I mean, we all gotta work together to find a happy solution or a better solution.
this
People
is,
pay taxes to live in the city,
Yeah.
pay for us to, you know, take care of the ones that don't, basically.
Yep, I mean, and you don't have to look very far and there's like 9 to 12 vehicles on one property. That's already not allowed.
Yeah.
So,
But like you had said before, when we had the police force, they took care of that. And then we've lost that ability since we've lost having our own police force.
yep, we've lost that togetherness or
That leverage.
that fit that you can make stuff work.
But we still can get that covered now by just having to bring that to the attention of Blue Earth County, right?
No,
We
No?
won't do it.
no.
no, they won't.
Even if our ordinance requires them to have them licensed.
Yes.
So if they are sitting on private property and they're not licensed, can we get them involved then?
Seems like we talked about that a couple summers ago.
Because I mean, you know,
If it's on the street, we can call
yeah,
Mhm.
and then it can be taken care of. I think if it's on the property,
does anybody got the old ordinance? If you look under the old ordinance, it's gotta be currently licensed to sit on.
The
your.
ordinance, you've got the current ordinances in that packet I sent you.
There's so much here to do.
Vehicle,
Yes, there is ordinances against it, but
but it's all civil penalties, and that was where the issue came in before, it was all civil penalties.
yeah, that's,
So the ordinance reads, if we want to change it. Or it becomes, we can abate it and then we can go that route.
Isn't that what, we were, isn't
So sorry.
that what we were talking about though, was with Kennedy and everything else to try to draw something up, get something done. that
That's what
has
these, yep, and
some
that's what,
teeth,
yes, and that's what he's doing, and that's why in there that has
Okay.
the two letters. Where we send the first one, the whole thing is though, is council, how previously council would drive around. Council can't drive around. I mean, they can, but it's not council saying you need to send letters to X, Y, and Z. It's now, last week I got phone calls, I got a phone call from somebody who had 4 properties that could see out their window that were in disrepair. Or that there was stuff laying all over, whatever.
Can we do it then as a citizen and initiate it?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
now it's that, or I think I can, if I see something or something like that, I really kind of forgot about what was in here.
Here it says it right here, inoperable motor vehicles MB or in which is not properly licensed for operation within the state. So they have to be licensed sitting on their property.
And there are several that are not.
So if they're not licensed, would the sheriff get involved in knocking on the door? They aren't gonna do that. But again,
So that's where the rub is, so. Start talking about this. It's like. Yeah, we have a lot of nuisance properties in town and a lot, I can think of a couple places that have a lot of vehicles, but. If we want to go through the abatement, then we have to, how much time and energy and money are we going to spend to try to get a unlicensed vehicle off the property? And in the end, we may not be able to get it off the property.
Right.
And.
but then we're not adhering to what we've adopted over the years either,
True, true.
you know, they're not.
But it's like we're very limited on our enforcement mechanisms. And that's because there's, well, too many lawyers, but anyway, that's a whole other.
Yeah.
But it's,
We can send fines to be assessed on county at some point. I mean,
That's where the abatement, yeah,
because you
Yep.
send so many warning letters or.
right, and that's where prior we could send a letter, but then it would be civil and we'd have to take it to civil court and that's where the roadblock hit. So now we can, with this, we send the letters, we say, you're in violation, it's a council meeting, they're gonna hear it, you can come, you can either rectify the situation, you can come and explain why you can't or when you're going to. Council will say, okay, you have X amount of days, this is what you agreed to, and if they don't, then we can start the abatement process. And maybe some of it is, they just don't know where to start. And then we can offer to help them. Or the other part is, we can do it for, and then charge them back and then store the items like Mapleton is doing.
And on the inoperable, on C, they wanted to put them all in one area and put a fence around them. It sounds like that's permissible.
If there's a fence,
Yep. Yep. And a nice, clean, two-sided fence or whatever looks better than
Right.
8 different vehicles sitting there that you see,
Mhm.
one's this way, one's this way, a couple this way. I mean, they're pretty much in order, but again, building supplies out in the open. I mean,
There's a lot.
take those building supplies and build a fence.
I think, like I just said, it's been on a slow, decline since we haven't had police force in town and now it's just gotten out of hand. I mean, to the point where nobody, if they're not gonna say anything, I'll just add another vehicle.
And I
If they're not
think-
gonna say anything, I'll just add another vehicle.
Yeah.
once the city sets an example and actually follows through with some of this stuff, I can't help but think it's going to fall into place.
Exactly.
I mean, it's going to be a process and it's not gonna be overnight, but
But
Like I said, when I moved here, the joke was they don't do nothing anyway. You know?
It still is.
Well,
This has been brought up for 30+ years.
Yeah, that's right.
Right.
Yep, that's
When I
right.
was on council, that was the big argument. You'd get so far and
and that's where,
But you have to have a lawyer also that will keep pushing and shoving,
then we just keep pushing and shoving.
yeah. You know,
We pushed and
I
shoved.
mean, you addressed that at one of those meetings, right? Didn't you ask that at a meeting and they said that they have an individual that really goes after this?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of my COG meetings, yep,
Yep, yeah.
yep.
So did they have problems pursuing that or?
No, it was, did I have problems?
No,
Oh.
those other towns.
No, once it was turned over to that, that attorney just went and did it. And end of story. So.
Yeah.
So, you know. That's something that we can look at some point.
that's why I don't understand, like, with fines being a leverage. Nobody likes fines. Usually people move pretty quickly when they know that there's a fine
But
and
there
a,
is no fine at this point, it's civil. Right now,
Yeah,
right now, the way we have it right now, it's a civil action.
right, we need to go to the due process part, so.
So once we change it and we go through the due process, because if you read into it, when you're talking about the council doing it, council can't, because council is the one that's gonna sit here and says, no, this is not correct, you need to fix this or whatever. So council can't go out there and say, hey, this property needs to be done, and I send them a letter. And that's-
So in other words, we get a full-time maintenance individual, him or her, him themselves, and you would be the two that would go around and look at properties,
We can't
take pictures,
look at 'em.
test.
we're not, I mean, I'm not gonna, the thing is with that, when you start, because we can't do pictures, we already know that. You don't wanna just go and pick on a property. If you're gonna do it, you need. to do
Yeah,
the whole-
citywide.
But then if you have somebody like my phone call last week, where somebody said, hey, you know, these properties are in disrepair or whatever, I can address those.
Specific
Those specific properties,
based on a complaint.
right? And I'm not saying that all the residents have to come up here and file a complaint, no, but, you know, if you see something,
brought to your attention without
Right.
being biased.
right?
Well, if you had an individual that had a complaint like that, wouldn't you have to have a picture to show what it was before we started? And to see if any progress was made?
I mean, we can, but.
You're all right with the pictures as long as,
Right, as long as
Focused
it's
on the
it's
problem.
focused on that and it stays here,
yeah,
yes.
because
So we can say, yes, there is progress, this,
Well,
pictures is worth 1,000 words.
yeah, it's the only way you're
You know.
gonna say if
Right.
it was progress.
yeah,
You just can't.
but, you know, but you can also say, you know, you've got a tree in your backyard, you've got a couch in your front yard, and you've got a broken down car next to it, you know? And then if those three things are moved, then you can tell there's progress.
progress of.
Moving it, well, it's progress,
Let's start the whole thing over
baby
again.
steps.
But then, well, yeah, we could go on cars and that nuisance how about houses that the siding's coming off, there's houses with no siding. There's squirrels running in a building. And it says in here, if it kind of like brings the value down of the individual next door, it's kind of like, you know, we gotta act as a city to get that in compliance, get it cleaned up. So it's all gonna involve a lawyer, right?
Yes, that will.
Everything is
Yep.
gonna involve,
Everything's gonna- Yep, absolutely.
so, you know,
But first, we need to change our ordinance to go to the due process, which Kennedy talks about. That's first thing.
That's first and foremost, and from there, then we can start.
Progress.
Once we get it in our ordinances, then we can start enforcing.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm still gonna send letters to the residents that, you know, I heard about last week. But at least we have the paper trail.
And then just to be sure that we're doing it properly, when somebody comes to us as council members,
Mhm.
and complains about a property, we can,
Oh,
should go
absolutely.
look at it.
Yep, or let me know that, hey, you know, so-and-so, you know, so there's a property over here and then we'll go from there. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I don't want to do anything to overstep our so-called boundaries, but yeah.
Right, yeah, yeah. You just can't go and tell me that, hey, you need to send a letter like we have in the past. You know, council goes around and then they have a list of people that we send letters to, that, because it says in our current letters that I've been directed or being directed by, under the direction of the city council or something. We have to, that's why these letters, these sample letters are in here, because we have to change that verbiage.
Oh, yeah.
Because you guys are the ones that held the meeting, the resident comes in and says, whatever. Or they don't show up and then you can, you know.
I mean, when they have a fence around their property and they allow the weeds to be 2 or 3 feet tall because they don't want to trim the weeds in the fence, I mean, that's against the height ordinance also. You know, the height ordinance is what, 6 inches, I think, something like that. Well, if you put a fence up and you have thistles growing in it,
You have to maintain it.
yeah, you have to maintain it and keep that knocked down. I mean, otherwise it's unsightly.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, somewhere in there's talks about noxious weeds.
Yep,
Yeah,
yep. And
We have sent those letters. I've sent some last summer.
You know,
yeah. Right away, section A, declaration of what a nuisance is. It's pretty self-explanatory.
Right.
Unsightly. Decrease the adjoining landowners and occupants'
Yep.
enjoyment of property and neighborhood. Adversely affect the property value.
And there is something in here about noise also, right? If you're making too much noise on your property and it goes 50 feet past your property line into somebody else's property and it's causing them problems, I mean, to me, what would you call that? That there is a noise ordinance that is being created by maybe a licensed motorcycle or a dirt bike
Unlicensed one.
or unlicensed. Shouldn't the sheriff have the right to make that
Mm-hmm,
Yeah, you would
call?
think.
yeah,
Get that?
Sheriffs have went to noise complaints.
mm-hmm.
And that can be done through the 911 call.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
they have told.
We just have to get residents to call 911 and say it's a non-emergency.
Right, exactly.
they're afraid to call because retaliation.
Right, and you
I've heard-
don't, I mean, and they don't, it can all be anonymous. They don't, you know, they just, but,
But it never is when you call 911.
well,
But
they have a, yeah, record of it, but the sheriff's not gonna go up there and say, so, you know, Miss Jones says that your radio is on too loud at 2 a.m. That's not how it works.
Well, I don't know. That's not true because of the deer hunting incident last fall there on the city lagoon. The sheriff called yours truly while the person was standing there.
Oh.
Yeah, so there's no private there. And I got
Was it to
called by
prove that
somebody
it
else.
wasn't-
Pardon?
Was it to prove that there was no hunting out there?
No, to say has permission.
Oh.
Yeah, has permission. No, you don't. Nobody's ever had permission to
No,
hunt on city property.
city property.
Nobody has ever had that. And, yeah, they called me up and he's standing right there. Oh, whatever. So,
That thing called common sense.
yep. That's been done every year,
Or a little
but now we got a
lack,
gate on there, so we should be in good shape.
Yeah.
So. I mean,
if they go down to the other,
we know all these problems exist,
Mhm.
but to get them,
You can't fix
to
stupid.
deal with them, I don't know
It's
how
just-
we're gonna.
Yeah, that's the rub.
I mean, we know we have some issues with cars. We know we have some issues with properties that have been started to construct and has been there now for 2 years at least. Nothing's happened. We have properties that have ran down because of loose boards and,
No side.
we have all of it in here.
Yeah.
We have it, we have everything in here,
Yeah, there's safety concerns. I mean.
you know? If you get a squirrel in the eave of your house, it ain't gonna be long, that house is gonna be wrecked. You know, they can do a lot of damage. And so, wow. And this might get back to maybe making these properties cleaner, which is in our regular meeting about, once a month.
Pickup day.
pickup.
Yeah, yep.
I think, if we try it this summer and say you just put that, I'm just saying, for instance, we put that pickup day on the second or the third or whatever Monday, have it on a Monday, so they have the weekend to carry it out to the curb. Maybe we can get our town cleaned up a little bit. Because, if you have it on Thursday, well, I worked until 8 o'clock on Wednesday night and I didn't have time to get it out. But if you have it first thing Mondays, they have the weekend to
Well,
drag out to
that's-
the curb.
Yeah, we'll just talk about that next meeting, but yeah.
So
Won't take care of.
maybe it would help, sure can't hurt.
Yeah, I think it'll definitely help. Won't help the vehicle situation, but.
And it won't help houses getting cited.
Right.
But some of this, the mess
yards.
in the yards, our big yard art, is that against our ordinances?
There was something in here. It talked about.
I mean, you go through towns and you'll find somebody with an old car or pickup, and they have the body sitting there and they'll plant flowers around it,
Mhm.
Just use machinery under N, under N.
Yeah. And, yeah.
So it's.
Under what? And
Letter N,
Accumulations in the open of
Yeah.
discarded or disused machinery, household appliances, automobile bodies or other material in a manner conductive. The harboring of rats, mice, snakes, vermins.
When does a piece of yard art get to be offensive to the neighbors?
well, here it says all dangerous, if you look at L, previous to that, it says all dangerous unguarded machinery in any public place or situated or operated on private property as to attract the public. Does that fall under that same thing?
Any public place?
Or situated on private property? I don't know.
So is it a nuisance that it attracts the public?
So I don't understand what
Don't know.
that wording is.
Yep. I mean, that's the way I read it. If somebody drove by and they kind of like gawked at it and ran into a parked car, is that what that kind of means?
Or is it something of like an, I don't know.
If kids climbed on it and fell off or something, I mean, just like a farm machinery is. Dangerous on a farm,
Right.
it could be dangerous sitting in
Yeah.
like a yard.
Yeah,
I can ask Kennedy.
yeah, cause well.
but in that case, if some kid is walking by, starts playing on something and falls off and hurts themselves. Then the parent of that child, they would have a very well
Oh, I-
documented lawsuit against that property owner.
Yeah, because
And that's,
your household insurance would have to pay that.
Mhm.
Mhm.
because it's your liability sitting out there in your yard.
Right.
Yeah. And I mean, the city probably don't take it, and deem what is good and bad in a yard.
Yeah, because that's too subjective.
Oh, it's counties out yet.
Oh,
So,
We supposed to get
Wow.
more snow. We're supposed to get more snow.
I don't think it's so related. I hope not.
you say you had a call last week where 2 or 3 properties in there?
I think there was 4 of them that were discussed.
And you will be sending out a letter?
Yes, I assured that I was gonna try to do it last week, but I thought I'm gonna wait until tonight. And then, but then, yeah, I can't send the new letters anyways because we're not to that process yet. I can still send the letters, so.
I mean, when properties start accumulating more and more and more, and now there's couches and a washer or dryer out in the yard. We can't allow that.
no.
I mean, if you took it out of the house, then by all means throw it in a pickup and haul it away. You know, if you're intending it, hoping the city will have this by April,
Mhm.
well, I don't think any neighbor should have to look at a couch or wash machine or dryer out in the yard
No,
until April.
I imagine a neighbor would complain before then. I mean, I'd become, if my neighbor all of a sudden started pulling out couches and crap like that, I'd be complaining immediately.
I mean, and we got it all. That's the thing. We've got every one of these scenarios in Good Dennis.
Mhm.
And I don't know how you get rid of them, or I mean, how you start. So like, say that a house here, this property owner, one exterior has holes, breaks loose, rotting boards or timbers. Can we send one of them out now after tonight, or do we have to have an individual
It's not-
complaint?
Well. That's one of them. But I don't know, I'd have to make sure that it's, because here we're quoting code. Code section 92.03B1 and 2. And if that's what our code says now, I can, but if it's not.
It may take all this summer again to get some of this done.
Yeah.
And like Sue said, other towns have had individuals pursue it and made headway.
Mhm.
So, you know, once we get past early spring here, maybe.
Especially after we offer what we're offering.
Yeah, the opportunity is there. A little bit of effort on their part would make it go in the right direction fairly easy, really. You can't get it to the curb.
Yeah. Well, we got a half hour yet, guys. We want to end it 6:45 and have a 15-minute break. What else are we gonna talk about nuisances?
Well, so we need a motion on this one then too, correct?
Correct.
To move it to the due process.
Mhm.
And the way he has this one written, I don't see anything that needs to be corrected. Or that we should change, or at least I didn't notice.
You're on the back of this. Where's his new letter or whatever you see?
Those are the example letters in the back 2 pages.
Okay,
That we would send out
Yep,
in lieu of what we're doing
Yeah.
currently.
except the last paragraph of that second letter. It's not supposed to be there, I'm assuming.
no,
I was trying to, because he sent me a PDF of it, so I was typing it up. What he was saying, and what he put in there, so.
Well, I'll make a motion to approve under Kennedy's suggestion that we move to a due process instead of the way we have been doing it. And to adopt the ordinance that he has, replacing with the current. That was a mouthful.
I second.
John made his motion, Amy seconded, all in favor, say aye. I oppose, motion carried. Anything else? We have 3 items there that we had to touch on. Anything else as far as what we've been reviewing tonight come to mind now?
This other one, Sue, this is from Kennedy as well, right?
Yeah, so these, so,
We've gone through a couple of these, but not,
right, so he touched on a couple of these and I kind of highlighted the ones that we were discussing tonight, like the administrative penalties. Or it says where he suggests, yeah, so I don't know how we talked about the administrative penalty, because we talked about all of this at that one meeting we had.
right,
And I sent a lot of this to Kennedy, and I think this is kind of some of it that Kennedy had sent to us. So there will be more ordinances that we either are changing or leaving the same. I'll have to go back in and look at my notes on those,
okay.
because I think there were. How many were there at the last time that we went through, that we did this? Do you remember?
I think it was all these right here,
Yeah,
but I don't think we got through all, I know nuisance properties we didn't get through.
that's why we did it, yeah.
Hmm,
The other part was the recreational vehicles. I know when we were having our ordinance meetings a year or so ago, we were talking about. How we wanted to deal with. Like mini trucks and one-wheeled scooters and two-wheeled scooters and things like that. So I don't know if that's something that we need to address. There was something in here about the snowmobiles.
yeah,
How about campers sitting on city street for a week at a time? Is that something we should address?
that I think was just in,
Those we can enforce. We can address that.
those I think were also just covered in this one we just did. Oh, maybe not. I don't remember.
As you said, if it's on the streets, the sheriff would take care of that, or?
Yes, if it's on the street, the city or the sheriff, because he has a couple of them, he either contacts them, he contacts them and has them move them.
Will be the one, but where the hell is it?
What are you talking about the snowmobiles? I know we saw it.
I know that
Right here on the
71.
It's got orange marker by it.
Oh, yeah, see?
The snowmobiles are licensed, so you can ride them down public highways, but years ago, you could not come in on the county roads. You could not ride it through Main Street. But you could come in from the north and you could come in Killer Drive and up there, go down to the bar, but you could not go on the county roads. You can cross them, ride on them.
Right.
But electric bikes, mini bikes and that are not licensed, which are not supposed to be on a public roadway.
I can't find
But
it.
then that kind of falls into the golf carts. The golf carts, there's a permit
Yeah, we have a permit for that.
to get, so
And there it says licensed driver.
in our, yes,
Yeah.
yeah, for the golf cart. we have to go through it, which is not being followed, and there's a lot of golf carts around town now that I've noticed that don't have any registration. Or they have them, there's no permit on them, they just drive them.
Now, is that something that we can bring to their attention?
We did it for a very short time and I can't remember how it went, but then I thought we stopped. We were issuing license.
Yeah, there's a permit that goes on the back because shortly after I started,
But
Helen wanted one and I didn't have a clue. So wasn't it Lee Hiller came up here to show me what he had on his?
It was a no fee one because
Right, there's no fee for it. It's just that
it's registered.
it's registered with the city basically.
Yeah,
And then they know that they have to follow the rules.
when, yeah, they did that fee thing and got into a pissing match.
Oh, yeah, there's
a
no
few
fee
years
for that.
back. So then they dropped the fee and
Mm.
Was in the actual ordinances on the snowmobiles, and that was a question that came up on, we have that hours of operations should be no snowmobiles between midnight and 7 a.m. But then we also had in there, that the hours, for operation were between 10. Let me read it.
10 PM to 7 AM.
Yeah,
if you went back 50 years ago when snowmobiles were big, I mean, there was groups of them in town. 5 or 30 of them, you know? That, I believe the town did talk about it, but say you were at somebody's house and you rolled in at midnight, you had the right to come into town and go directly to your house.
right.
But it's like a very minimal speed.
Yeah,
Yeah, now we have four-wheelers that,
yeah, yeah,
there's four-wheelers, but they're all, well, I think they're licensed, I guess, I don't know.
yeah, they're licensed.
They're supposed to be.
The problem too, I know, the other part on the bottom, talking about regulated such as mini bikes, which makes sense. Little unlicensed motorized noisemaker.
But how do you regulate those? That was what we discussed in.
They're not unpublished. I'm just saying, then they got electric bikes.
Mhm.
You gotta be careful with that because it's a pedal bike with
Right.
battery
Yep,
assist.
yep.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Mhm.
I don't know about what electric bike they're talking about there, but electric skateboards, yeah, no, that's those hoverboards with the
Those-
handle.
Yeah, are those like electric scooters? Those, when they used to call them a bird or something?
Would you, in our ordinances, getting back to that deer hunting incident, would we ever put that in the ordinance that there is never, ever any hunting allowed on city
City
properties?
property? Why would
Have it
this?
in there? Have it in there?
It's not in there?
I
I've never, I
don't-
didn't read it.
I don't believe so, you know, there is no hunting on any city properties. So you have that. So when the sheriff is down there and, well, the city has an ordinance, no hunting on city property.
Yeah.
Just that simple.
Right.
Is, the water ponds, are they posted no trespassing too?
Right,
They are?
Yep.
Okay, yeah, that's what I thought.
but they drove right by them.
Oh, I'm sure they do.
I mean, you can have a hunt in the city of Mankato, but it's a special permit, and
Yeah.
special time. That's just to me again,
So maybe we should get that in writing.
you know.
I don't know where we would put that.
Even-
Well, Kennedy would
Well,
know,
I'll talk to
Yeah.
Kennedy.
Yep.
I'll ask him.
Yeah, I don't, yeah,
because we've dealt with that numerous times.
I think that's good. Yeah,
Yeah.
I just don't know where it would go.
Something I think is common sense, but I guess it needs to be put
Yeah,
in.
you can put in there, no hunting or discharging of firearms
Firearm,
on,
right?
And or riding four-wheelers on city property, because there were, if you went back a few years ago, there was trails down here by the burn pile. Where people were riding down in through there on city property into the river. And, you know, but I think that's all ended now, but that could also be included in it.
Mhm.
You know, you could take that four-wheeler and take a branch down to the burn pile. But you can't go riding through the woods, you know.
Right, right.
fire.
I mean, I don't have a problem if somebody's going camping and they put their camper out on the street for a day or two to pack it, you know?
Clean it.
But if they just kind of leave it there, you know, for weeks on end, it's kind of a, you know,
Is it 24 or 48
it's
hours?
24 for a car, you know, but nobody has ever enforced that. You know, there's cars that have sat for weeks on end and nobody's ever said nothing.
I think recreational maybe is 48 hours.
That recreational is 48.
But either way,
Yeah. Well, have we touched on enough here so we can have a 15-minute break?
Think so.
Everybody satisfied?
mhm.
Somebody make a motion to adjourn the special meeting ordinance review?
I will make a motion to adjourn the special meeting.
Someone a second?
I'll second it.
Got a second? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried.